everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Mon, and if you don't know yet, I am Portuguese, but I'm living in Norway. I moved to Norway 2 years ago, more or less, and today I am going to talk about some of the most typical things about Norway and about Norwegians, and also I'm going to share a little bit of my experience. If you're Norwegian, I hope you're not offended by anything I'm going to say, just because it's just my opinion and I'm going to talk in general. So this is just in general and based on my experience, okay? So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the weather. So for me this was a big change since I'm from Portugal, and when I came here it was December, and in Portugal it was like 19 or 18 degrees and here it was minus 19. It was super cold. Everything was full of snow and it was really dark. In Norway, in the winter you have more or less 2 months that you have almost no sun, and then in the summer you have sun until midnight, and that's pretty cool, right? So you probably heard about the midnight sun that you can watch here in Norway. It's really nice because you can go out and you can do like picnics and barbecues during the night and it's still light. Another thing that most people don't realize is that in Norway they also have a pretty nice summer. They have nice like beaches where you can swim in the fjords, and the water is pretty warm actually. When it's sun here in Norway, everyone is out. Like everyone is in the city park like sunbathing. Of course they don't have very high temperatures in the summer. I guess it goes to 25 degrees in general. Now, in the winter, it's also a great time to visit Norway because it's full of snow and winter sports. I'm not a big expert in this subject since I don't know how to ski, but they have really cool winter sports and snow sports like sledge, ski and snowboard, and Norwegians have this sound of communication that it's like when they agree or just to express a feeling, but normally when they agree with something they do this noise. When someone is talking and you are listening and you are agreeing with that person, you just go along and and it's also very addictive. You just make it also, and then you realize, oh no, I'm making the sound also. Another thing they do is when they arrive home, they always take their shoes. So you have this little place at the entrance where you can put your shoes and then they walk barefoot or with their slippers inside the house. They also have this thing where in the winter it's super cold outside, so imagine like minus 15, and then you enter some place, any place, and it's super hot. So you have this kind of hair dryer sensation. Then you enter the restaurant, it was like and you are dressed with all of these layers because it's so cold outside, and you have to start taking all the layers off and you get dressed like you are in summer. There's one thing that exists here that I guess it also exists in other countries, but for example in Portugal I have never seen it before, and that is the machine where you can change your empty bottles or empty cans for money. Here in Norway you cannot buy alcohol in the supermarket after a certain hour. I think it's after 6 or 7, I'm not sure. You see that Norwegians have this thing where they get really drunk really fast and they get crazy. So I guess this is just a precaution. The Norwegians in general are very shy and very closed. They don't talk like a lot, they are not very expressive, and it takes a long time to be friends, like really friends with a Norwegian, but then when you get to that point you have a friend forever, so that's good. Most of Norwegians also do this thing where if you are in a big party and a Norwegian wants to leave, we call it like the ninja bomb. You know, when the ninjas like just threw away a fog bomb and disappear in the fog. For example, if we are in a party and then we look around and we're like, oh, where's Johan? Where did he go? You never know because they don't say goodbye or they don't say anything really, they just disappear. Also, typical things about Norwegians is that they are very careful with critics. They are very afraid to talk to you in a bad way. So in school, for example, I'm in architecture, the critics are always very carefully said. Sometimes I just want to ask them like, just say it, just you say it. I'm a big girl, I can handle it. One of the things that is really common here in Norway, it's an object that actually Norwegians invented, and it's a cheese slicer. So it's just a thing that you use to cut your cheese in slices, and it's actually super useful. And of course they have brunost, that is brown cheese, and it's this brown cheese that is very sweet and it's actually really good. Another super typical thing in Norway, and this is not very normal for me, it's that their lunch, like normally and mainly lunch, it's a slice of bread. I think it's called matpakke, but I'm not sure. If there's any Norwegian out there, just tell me. But it's a slice of bread where you put whatever you like on top, and then you eat it like this. Just the slice of bread with, like, for example, cheese, egg and salad on top, and that's your lunch. I'm getting used to it. Another super typical thing that I'm sure you've heard about is the Northern Lights, and they happen in a specific time of the year. I guess they start in November and it keeps going until March, I guess. You should see it at least once in your life. You should, because it's amazing, it's incredible. As you may know, Norway only has about 5 million people, but it's really big, it's really long. So if you want to travel, for example, from Oslo, that it's in the south, to a little bit less, like underneath the middle, it's just like 7 hours. And all of the big cities are very scattered around Norway, so if you do want to travel and get to know Norway, you need a long time or you need a lot of money to spend on flights to get around, because it's just crazy. And also if you rent a car and you try to drive around Norway, it's also crazy because the roads are not that good. They have like what they called a highway. It's not really a highway at all, it's just a normal road, and it goes through like tunnels, a lot of tunnels and bridges. Sometimes you get in a tunnel like 20 minutes after you leave the tunnel, and then you are in the bridge, and then you get again in another tunnel, so it's just crazy. Another thing super common here, it's having a cabin in the forest, like near a lake, and then you have this thing you call like hyttetur, where you go on a cabin trip with your family or with your friends, and you just go to the middle of nowhere with no water or electricity in the most cases. Like for example, once I went to a cabin with some friends and the lake was frozen. We didn't have water in our cabin, so we went to the lake, cut some ice and melted the ice, so we had water to cook. You get a very nice experience because you are far away from everything, you don't have internet, and you get to really enjoy the time with your friends and make cool games and cook and all of these great things. And that's everything for now. I'm sure there were a lot of things still that I could tell you and more typical things about Norway. I just tried to share a little bit of the things that are more close to me or more like into my life. And tell me in the comments below some of the most typical things about your country, or some things that you found interesting about Norway. If you came here to visit Norway, if you live here, or if you just heard about it, just tell me in the comments. I hope you liked it. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Yeah, so I'll see you guys next week. Goodbye!